Welcome back to this 19th session of Hereticus, our Warhammer 40,000 Dark Heresy 1st Edition campaign. And Chris, why don't you provide us with a recap?
Indeed, thank you, GM. Last time on Hereticus, we finally landed on the piety of Seth, a former Agri-world and Shrine world, and Akalon's home planet, which has now been embroiled for just over a year or so in a bitter and very destructive war. We landed after a long journey, long because we couldn't use warp travel to get there. And we landed and we met with the high command, or at least the most immediate high command of the remaining loyal Scintillan Fusiliers on Piety of Seth. I say the remaining loyal Scintillan Fusiliers because several regiments have been noted to have turned traitor. And there is at least one regiment also which has not quite, at the time, had not quite turned traitor, but were refusing to basically obey orders or do anything meaningful, so they might as well have been traitors by that point. By which I mean Sister Francesca, being the leader, explained the situation, why we were there, and we established basically what was going to be done, how we were going to operate within the bounds of what the Imperial Guard were doing, and then we set to planning through the rest of the evening and the night what we were going to do, how we were going to do it, and we had some character roleplay where we all talked about various matters, particularly Akalon, I think, and Medea had some very good points and some character development they worked on. And then the next morning, we all got up fresh and ready for all kinds of murderizing, only then it turns out we weren't that ready because something happened. Where the disloyal Scintillan Fusiliers regiment had been, appeared a massive warp storm, as confirmed partly by Akalon reaching out to it and getting a massive amount of chaotic feedback and just being like, no, don't like. And we saw large swathes of soldiers and armor making its way towards us with a clear intent to do mischief. And among their ranks were horrors, I believe pink horrors, which are famously demons of Zinch. And so we decided to put our immediate plans to go out and search for geometric shapes of evil on hold to help defend this HQ post with the remaining loyalists we had around us. And we all set up in various positions, with Tim setting up his sniper position, Medea and Akalon and Francesca, I all believe, setting up near to the entrance to the HQ. Francesca did her wonderful, wonderful thing of basically becoming a massive beacon of inspiration and morale for the various loyal Fusiliers, because, Sister of Battle, many, many great perks to it. And I think that's pretty much where we left off. Getting ready to be mauled by waves upon waves of traitor guardsmen and demons.
Yes, that is pretty well. So there was an initial artillery barrage by the enemy, and a response from the fortress you guys are in. And the only one who took any kind of damage was Medea. It wasn't a lot, but she did take a bit of damage. I think 1 wound or 2 wounds or something to that effect. But yes, we start this session with you guys basically preparing to be hammered by the enemy as they rush across the black, barren wasteland that used to be the Piety of Seth.
Didn't we do the rolls for that last time?
The rolls for what?
The big fight.
No, we only had the initial artillery barrage last time. We haven't actually finished we haven't actually started the actual battle yet. We start off with Sister Francesca lighting up like a Christmas tree, using like you said, Chris, her Emperor-given talents, instilling within her the guardsmen around her the seal of the Emperor, and that includes you guys. And we had, the initial artillery barrage from the enemy and from the HQ, and so we start this session with the first actual round of battle, and we're going to abstract things a bit. We aren't going to have you guys fight individual enemies. Instead, what we're going to do is we'll take this for a few rounds, and I'll have each of you explain what your character does during this battle, this round of battle, and we'll then roll, depending on what those actions are. We'll roll some dice and see what happens, and you guys will take some damage, most of you at any rate.
Not it.
Well, we'll see. But I think that's the way to go about it. So as the enemy crashes against the fortress walls, the enemy being the rebel guardsmen and their demon allies, you describe them as pink horrors. They are certainly pink, and they are certainly horrors. Some of them are roughly humanoid in shape. Others are just a tangled mass of tentacles and teeth. But they are horrific to behold. And the enemy crashes against the fortress walls. And so, if there's one thing the Imperial Guard is good at, it is creating defensive structures, and so this initial collision is ineffective by the enemy. They are just throwing themselves mindlessly at the walls and gates of this fortress you guys are positioned in. So, what are you guys going to do? And take this, don't worry about individual targets or anything. Take this up a level and explain how your characters deal with the threat of the enemy. This is Francesca. Let's hear what you have in mind.
Well, I'm already lights,
Yes.
a light source for everyone here. So basically, I'm going to use the heavy flamer to. Basically, the point is, if there is a breach anywhere, in the section of the line that I'm in,
Yep.
if I see anyone who's being pushed back, or there's a danger of a breach forming, or if there is a breach being made, for example, then that's where I will go. I will use the flamer to drive back. A steady stream of superheated promethium tends to make people want to be somewhere else. And I'm going to be, bolstering morale, shouting encouragement to the men, that sort of thing.
Okay. But you are opening yourself up to attacks.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that she's going to be open to attacks. She cannot avoid that in given the circumstances.
And the wall has been breached in certain places. The enemy does have various siege weaponry, so absolutely. And okay, so you don't need to roll anything because you're using a flamer. So
that's a great big advantage of that weapon.
Yes, it really is. So okay, so I am going to roll some dice for the damage you take during this initial round of battle. And you can subtract both armor and your toughness from this roll, whatever it is.
I'm assuming that dodging is not really going to be in
because
because it's not an individual attack.
Right,
It's
exactly.
okay. Well, in that case, ding.
Cool. Okay, Akalon, what are you going to do during this initial round of battle?
Very good question. Is it worth bringing it out yet? Are we facing demons or are we facing just guardsmen at this point?
A bit of both.
Okay, it's probably going to be very dangerous, but I would like to try a new ability I learned last time.
Okay.
I would like for Akalon to manifest his rage and his hatred of these enemies who have burned his home down, and of his obviously of the adrenaline coursing through him in the heat of battle, and focus it through his psychic powers into a psychic blade.
Okay. And what does that do exactly?
Well, it's let me see here. Psychic blade threshold 19, focus time half action. It's sustained. I will basically conjure forth a blade. That is basically, it's treated as a sword wielded by me that requires no melee training to use but cannot parry, and to strike with it I use my willpower characteristic rather than my weapons.
Okay.
On a successful hit with this weapon, it deals 1d10 rending damage plus 2 additional points of damage per point of willpower bonus. In addition, the weapon has penetration equal to twice my willpower bonus, so that's 1d10 rending plus 12 points of damage plus 12
penetration.
12 penetration.
Damn. Okay, so what I'll need from you is basically rolling your use psychic power thing, your power roll. We only need to concern ourselves with whether or not you roll a 9 on this test to manifest your power. We only need to see if you manifest a psychic phenomenon.
Of course.
So if you could make me that roll. And Medea is all for you guys, or for you rolling 9s apparently.
Yes. It's been so long since I've done this. It's been a while since we played this last, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Rolling 9s in this situation would be disastrously bad.
Yes, I know, because it is an ill-fated number. I'm just rolling my willpower.
Yes.
Is that right?
Also, you don't need to get, the demons don't need to come very far to find you. They're sort of already here.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to do is you need to roll a number of dice equal to your psi rating.
Oh, right, yes, of course. Which dice is that again?
D10.
Okay,
and you add your willpower bonus to that roll.
Okay, let's see. What is my psi rating? This is a very good question. It's been a while. Psi rating of 3, I think. Okay. Psi rating 3d10 plus 6.
Oh, there's a 9.
There's a 9.
Fuck.
Yay. So what you do...
At least it's only one.
Yes, but you do need to roll me a D100.
1d100.
Yes.
Roll 99.
Will you shut up?
Are you trying to get us murdered?
Well, it only
Hello?
takes 75 plus for a peril of the warp to manifest. So let's see.
9!
Aww.
I love it.
And that is mounting paranoia. The psychic gets an itch between his shoulder blades for a few moments. So,
Yeah, okay. That's understandable given the situation.
Yeah, really.
yeah, but a bit boring.
Yeah, I aim to be boring but practical.
but you do manifest your power, and you slice through the enemy with this psychic blade of yours. Tim, what are you going to do during this initial round of battle?
And this is abstracted, right? So it's not actually the initial round of battle. Or
No, you just basically tell me what Tim is doing on a level above a micromanagement and round by round combat.
In that case, Tim has 2 objectives.
Mhm.
First and foremost, he aims to take out important pieces, leadership-looking guys, or stuff like that.
Mhm.
And secondly, he aims to, if in any way possible, he's going to observe the surroundings and see if he can use them to give our side an advantage. Like, oh, there's a crane there. If I could somehow explode that bit, it will fall down, squish these guys, and create a natural barrier. Stuff like that.
Okay, cool. So, why don't you give me a ballistics test? And you
Modified by anything?
you can modify using your whatever's on your weapon. It has accuracy. You can aim and all that.
Yes. I forget what accurate does.
If
Plus 10, isn't it?
yes, if you perform an aim or an aim action, you get an additional plus 10 to your test.
Yes, and the scope just allows me to hit further away, right?
Yes, as far as I recall, yes.
Yes. It gives, or it removes, what do they call, penalties for shooting beyond a certain range.
Okay, and of course Tim will be using the new scope that will also alert him for thermal indicators, just in case some of these invisible elves are here.
Cool. Very, very cool.
That is actually good thinking right
Yes, I agree.
So, and what do I normally give for an aim action?
Plus 10 or plus 20, depending on whether or not it's a half action or a full action. But if you can just take the full action, that's cool with me. So, plus 10 for
there. Yeah, you're in a good position. You don't
Yes.
need to move or anything.
Nope.
In that case, let's see.
Wow, cool.
That's nice.
It does say target 0, but
I think
Yeah,
it
but
still does the
if you
math,
look at the
right?
success,
exactly.
it has calculated it from the correct number.
yes, which is weird, but yeah.
Well, we
Uh,
already
as-
know Roll20 is occasionally a bit
Yes.
moody when it comes to its
That is
Yeah.
very true. Okay, cool. Also, I need to roll some damage for both you and Akalon, because even though you are positioned you aren't positioned at the front, there is still artillery fire and all that to worry about, Tim. So you'll get some damage.
Do I
as
at
well.
least get reduced damage then?
Well, first of all, Akalon. I'm going to roll, and you can subtract both armor and toughness from the result, which is 12.
Okay, what is my toughness?
And I'm assuming, by the way, when
Yes,
you say
it's body.
that we should use chest armor.
Yes,
Right?
it is body.
Okay, so I take in total 3 points of damage,
Okay.
which is I feel it, but it's not the worst.
That's very true. And Tim, there's no reduction because the artillery fire can absolutely hit the tower, and if that happens, there is going to be a lot of damage.
No reduction from them not thinking to hit the tower.
Well, they're certainly they're just firing into the fortress without any real regard for strategic value.
Fair enough.
And that is something that the more militarily inclined of you actually take note of, is that they aren't terribly tactical in what they do, the enemy.
I'm kind of my guess is, Heine, that basically what we are being targeted by are these things. Quite apart from the Lim and Rust tanks, of course, but I'm assuming that we are taking fire from these assholes as well.
Yes, absolutely.
And if we are, then that's indirect fire. They're mortars, basically, or howitzers, so they fire in a high trajectory rather than a flat one.
Yes.
Which means that, yeah, they don't aim for anything except the general area, and your
Right.
tower just so happens to get in the way.
Yes, and even
That's fair enough.
the more precise of their artillery, still they aren't using it to to great effect. Well, great effect, but they aren't using it tactically.
Right.
So
Let's see what I take.
12 points minus toughness and
Yeah, that's -6, so that's 6 points of damage.
yes.
Let's see if we can figure out where it is. I note that. Is it in the bottom? Yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
Ow.
Yeah, that hurt. Okay.
Yes, and then the surveying of the area.
Well, so the surveying of the area. Well, there are no Dark Eldar present, as far as you can tell.
That's a relief.
Yeah, but
I imagine it
again,
would be.
very good thinking for testing for them, because the rest of us are probably very busy just staying alive down here.
Yep. So Medea, what are you going to do for this initial round of battle?
If I may, Heine,
Mhm.
what of strategic advantages that I can observe, like I suggested?
Okay. Well, there's the obvious taking out the artillery installations that they have, the basilisks for one. You should be able to with a good shot take out the what are they called?
Sponsors?
The spotters. Yes, that was the word I was looking for. Basically, the soldiers telling the artillerists where to aim their weapons.
Yeah, those are key
They
targets.
will still be shooting, but they'll be
Yes.
shooting blind.
Yes, exactly.
Which means that there is a reasonable chance, if they undershoot, that their grenades are going to land in their own ranks.
Yes, exactly. Other than that, there are of course the demons. You as they clash with your guys, with the loyalists, you can see that they are the ones doing the most damage as they rip Imperial Guardsmen to shreds. So those are also obvious targets, and then you do spot several individuals among the enemy ranks who you might consider leaders, officers, NCOs, that sort of thing.
Right. Well, I aim for them.
Okay.
In regards to the bombardment,
Mhm.
should Tim consider being aware of finding another place to be at some point if the tower gets too damaged?
Well, certainly if the tower becomes too damaged, then it'll collapse and take Tim with it. So, in that regard, it might be a good idea for Tim to relocate to another position at some point.
Yeah.
The tower isn't quite there yet, but
Well, he's aware of it at least.
yes. Cool. So, Medea, what are you going to do? You are at this point standing face to face with the enemy, meaning rebel guardsmen and these pink demon things.
Well, that makes them easier to hit them, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. So you're going to unload some clips on them.
It's easier to shoot everything that moves that isn't on our side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, also with her preferred tactics of, spray and pray, firing into a seething mass of enemies pretty much guarantees you're going to hit something.
Yes, exactly.
She is very mobile and jumps around to get away, but that's about it.
Cool. So what I'm going to need from you is a ballistics test, and I'm going to I'm assuming that you're going to use the full auto action, which basically gives you a +20 to your roll, a +20
There is no
bonus.
full auto on my bolt pistols.
There aren't. Well then,
There is a rate of fire of 2. I don't think that's
that's
a
simi. That's simi. That's simi. So
And
if you
then
use
there's a
that,
big fat 0 on the third one.
yeah. So if you use that, it's a +10 to your roll. To your
It's the
ballistics
only
test.
way I can use my 2-weapon wielder.
Yep. It's good. And this is just basically just to see how well you perform and how many enemies you put down.
So I have to roll it twice, don't I?
Nah, for this just roll once and you can do a +10 and I'll narrate what happens.
So basically, if I fail the first one, she's not gonna hit anything.
Oh, she'll probably still hit something, but just not as effectively as if you rolled successfully, which you do. Good. Okay, and now I'm going to roll some damage for you as well, because you're standing in the thick of it, which means last fire and demon claws and fangs and tentacles, and also artillery fire is what you need to contend with. So, well, 9 minus both your armor and toughness.
So nothing.
Cool. Sweet. So
She's apparently mobile enough.
yeah, apparently so. So during this initial this initial round of combat, what we have is the enemy crashing against the fortress walls and also pouring through breaches in the walls, and you engage them in combat. Sister Francesca with her flamer and shouting words of wrath and Medea basically shooting, dodging, taking down multiple enemies with her bolt pistols. We have Achelon slicing through enemy after enemy with his psychic blade. There is this. So I'm going to need to ask, what is it that Achelon is paranoid of?
What is he paranoid of? He's paranoid of the
Dandruff.
fact that... No, be quiet. He doesn't have enough hair for that. He is paranoid about the fact that, well, we're facing former Imperial Guardsmen who turned traitor. Who's to say that the ones behind him aren't going to waver and turn their back on the Emperor as well?
That makes sense. And then we have Tim up in one of the towers, taking out strategic targets.
Yes.
A few spotters, a few officers down in the thick of it. I imagine he saves Medea and or Sister Francesca on more than one occasion. And
That's fine. That's fine, because that's quite frankly, that's why you're up there. I'm down here, and so is Medea, in order to save as many guardsmen as possible.
yeah, and
Yes, I imagine it's like on your right, blam.
yeah, something to that effect. And the battle as a whole goes so. You guys, of course, kill a whole lot of enemies with your flamer, with your psychic blade, with your bolt pistols, and with your long lasts. But the Imperial Guardsmen who are fighting with you also fight. They fight effectively. They fight with tactical skill, and with the wrath of the Emperor with them, given to them by Sister Francesca. And the enemy is slaughtered. They have no tactics to speak of. They just almost mindlessly
It's a wave attack.
wave after wave. What you do notice is that there is a certain sheen to their eyes, the mortal enemy at least, a purplish sheen.
But we've seen that before, haven't we? We've seen, actually, I think we've seen that ever since we went to get that Psyker woman, Elvena Iriax. Those guys that we ended up fighting there, they had that purple sheen in their eyes as well.
Yes, and the sheen in these guardsmen's eyes matches that of the sky above their former headquarters, where they basically where they come from, where they were encamped. Last session, the commissar brought your attention to a storm with purple lightning.
Oh, right.
Some distance away.
Aww, they're being mind controlled. Too bad I'm still gonna kill them.
Of course.
Best put them out of their misery.
Yes,
If
indeed.
If
Who
their
knows
minds are
what
not-
their minds are after that, anyway.
Exactly. If they are not strong enough to resist such control, then they shall have to accept the consequences of their heresy.
Yes.
Whether it is voluntary heresy or not, it is still heresy.
Of course.
Yep. So we'll
Just for the heck of it, we should burn their headquarters too.
might be a good idea. So second round of a battle, we'll go across. We'll go to each of you again. Sister Francesca, you first. Is there anything different you would like to do this round, or is it more of the same for Sister Francesca?
Well, that depends on a few things.
I actually have a. Sorry.
You were saying?
Just as I wanted to propose an idea, I started coughing like shit because something went down the wrong throat.
That's
Aye.
not-
Well,
So-
what's the idea?
If we work together, we might be able to actually force them back.
That would be optimal, but that's actually part of what I was about to ask. Is because you said that there were breaches a couple of places, and under a wave attack, I believe that the normal course of action will be eventually to retreat behind a more there's a first line of defense and then a second line, and then quite possibly in this case we'd be down to fighting them off in the central bunker.
Yes.
But are we still able to hold the first line, or has it been too badly compromised? That's the point.
No, the first line is still intact.
All right. In that case, then I do agree with Medea that we should try to create a breach in their lines, because if nothing else, that will force whatever is controlling them to either to react to that, or they're going to have hopefully going to have a couple of Lehman Russ tanks or similar simply plowing through their lines. And I'm going to go on the radio there and inform the commander, Lord General Hobart, that is what we intend to do. And if he has any armor that he can send to our section of the line, then provided this works, that armor will be able to take advantage of such an opening.
Okay.
That's actually a rather good idea that Aya came up with there.
Mm.
And then you guys try to drive a wedge through the enemy.
Yeah, I realize that also means that Francesca is probably going to have to place herself longer in a breach than she otherwise would have. But yeah, all right. Let's burn the fuckers. If it takes an entire clip of heavy flamer fuel, then that's fine. Just get them out of the way.
My idea were kind of like, I'm carrying a grenade launcher.
Yep.
Hey, throw that. Throw some of them out there as well.
And if I don't use the launcher, I can still throw the grenades out. You burn them, and I shoot in between your fire.
I think
That way,
seems
the
like
place would. That way, the breach would get really, 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 really thinned out.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea, actually.
If we then get help from our psyker friend and a sniper who can take out the big guys too.
I don't think we can stress just enough how tactically sound and invaluable both Medea and you, Aya, have been during this campaign. It's fantastic.
It really
Us
is.
playing Pac-Man is fun.
I think that is I think that's an excellent plan. I think we should do that. So basically, what I will do is with Francesca is get into one of these breaches and and lay down a longer burst of Promethean than normal, and then when I step aside out of the way, then these people are going to the enemy is going to try to fill in the gap that has been opened by the flame, and then a couple of placed grenades from Medea's launcher, and that should hopefully be enough until I step back out again with another burst of flame. Eventually, that should open up enough of a breach that we can send something through if anything arrives to do so.
I can see I have two kinds of grenades too.
Frag.
I have
Frag.
frag and immolation.
Immolation is good, but I'm already doing that with the flame.
I know, but I can see I have those too.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So at least so what I'm going to need from Sister Francesca, I think, is a command role. I think that makes sense because you're basically getting in touch with the Lord General. You're not commanding him to do anything, but you're still
I'm
providing
making
some tactical suggestions.
Exactly, making a
He's making an offer he can't resist.
Yep.
hardy. Let's see if I actually have command. I don't think so. Nope, I don't, but it's a basic skill, so I can still roll it.
It's still fellowship.
It's still fellowship indeed.
Yes. A mighty fellowship.
No bonuses or subtractions, I take it?
I'll give you a +10 because
Thank you.
It is a very sound.
Yeah, the idea is sound. And
Well, that gives me a third, it gives me 33% chance of managing, so it's 1/3, so that's fine. Let's see if it works. Oh, wow, it really does.
Cool, sweet. So
Very nice.
while you're standing there on top of some large piece of rockcrete, shooting flames down at the enemy as they advance, you get in touch with the Lord General and you propose your idea. Then your flamer runs out of Prometheum and you're forced to step back. Medea steps in, or she doesn't step in per se, but she covers
Launches
you with
with
some grenades. So I'm going to have to have a what's it called? Is that also ballistics?
Yes, it is.
Okay, ballistics test from Medea. Oh, she has cake, so
Cake is very important.
we'll take that. In the meantime, what does Achelon do to assist in this clever plan of yours?
Needless to say, he will have been on. I'm making sure that the whole group hears what it is we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think how I would fit into the plan in terms of where Achelon is.
It is possible for Achelon to make his way toward Sister Francesca and Medea.
Yes, I mean that's the point. Is that he very much intends to do that. It's not going to stop him killing in great quantities. Combination of psychic blade flickering and flashing in one hand and a bolt pistol in the other, raining loud and was it diamantine tipped death on anything that earns his ire is just cleave a path towards them and make his way out from there.
Okay, so I'm going to have to ask you for that. Was it willpower you controlled your psychic blade with?
Yes, that's yes. If I'm
could you give me a roll power test then? And welcome back, Medea. Medea, I'm going to need a ballistics test from you to throw those grenades.
Any modifiers I should be?
No. This is just to see how if you actually manage to cleave your way through the enemy and up to Sister Francesca and Medea.
Wow, very successfully.
Yeah.
Our rolls have, tentatively started out pretty okay.
It'll go badly at some point.
At some point. But at the moment, the normally quiet and reserved Achelon is just a rictus of anger and shouting and...
He is, in fact, as an orc would say, killy.
He is very killy at the moment.
Yes.
Any modifiers?
No.
Actually, wait a second.
Mhm.
How is it with grenades? Just let me check it again. I just realized something about hitting with a grenade. Because I think if you don't hit, it scatters.
Yes.
It does, but in
Alright.
this case, I hit exactly where I'm throwing it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. And Tim,
Yeah.
are you going to continue doing what it is you do best?
He's definitely first and foremost going to continue having a lookout and be the person to forewarn the others of events happening when they need it.
Okay. Cool.
And then he'll continue taking out important targets.
Mhm.
And thirdly, he'll begin scanning for somewhere he can safely get to when the tower gets too damaged.
Okay. So I'm going to need a ballistics test and an awareness test from you.
Any particular order?
No.
Is the sight-based awareness?
Yes, it's basically to. It covers both you scanning for the.
I desire to re-roll that.
I kind of figured you would. Aw.
Wow. Can I re-roll it more than once?
Nope. You can't.
That's 100.
That's a 100.
Whoops.
Yeah.
And your.
Tunnel
They were
vision.
so bad.
Or you can re-roll, obviously.
He
No, I
already
already
did.
done that.
He
You
already
did.
did.
That's it.
And the ballistics test.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
That's
that went
somewhat more
much
successful.
better. Okay, cool. So,
At least you shoot good, you just don't see shit.
yeah. So in this round of battle, the enemy has, like I said, breached or entered through several breaches in the walls, and there's a lot of less fire going on. There's a lot of close combat. Bayonets have been put to good use by both sides, and in all this we have Sister Francesca. I explained her. Okay, so hang on, I'll be right back.
That was a bad roll.
That's an interesting explanation, yes.
Yes.
And
Well,
yes.
ladies and gentlemen of the viewing audience, this is a service announcement. Our GM occasionally has real life to take care of. The rest of us are aware of this condition. We do feel very sorry for him, and we do, from time to time, offer our sympathies in his direction that he still has to deal with this awful, awful condition. The rest of us have long since moved past it.
I mean, I don't feel particularly sorry for him, considering that his real-life issues are matters of being a happy and productive family man. So
Yes, that is true. It's the general principle of it being real life.
yes, of course, the principle's always.
Yes,
I have
exactly.
returned to the 41st millennium.
Yes.
So, like I described earlier, we have Sister Francesca standing on this pile of rockcrete and using her flamer to good effect against the enemies as they rush toward her. Meanwhile,
She's probably a bit of a target as well, being
Yep.
all alight and shit.
Yep. Oh, I need to roll damage. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's on the comm with the Lord General, suggesting a few things. And as she has to step back both to reload her weapon and to probably communicate with the Lord General, Medea covers her, throwing several grenades into the horde that's rushing toward them all. And we have Akalon slicing his way toward his friends, or at least his comrades,
Yes.
killing enemy after enemy. Blood.
I imagine that between us, we are racking up an absolutely horrific kill count.
Yep.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we have the good old Tim Doing a good job up there, eliminating high-value targets. Again, officers, spotters, etc., etc. The problem is he fails to he fails to get out in time. He doesn't spot a proper relocation somewhere else he can set up before it's too late. And so we have a tower collapsing and Tim falling with it. First, I'm going to give Sister Francesca some damage, or maybe you just
Let's see.
14.
14 is... Wow, you actually do a little bit of damage. I take an entire 2 points of damage. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is. Akalon, 11.
That's... How much did I take last... How much did you give me last time? 12, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, so I take another 2 points of damage from that.
All right. And we have Medea, 13.
Woohoo!
And last, but
Certainly not least.
Probably not least. No.
We have
Immortias.
20.
5d6.
Ow.
And that's a pretty good roll too.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'm assuming there's nothing I can do to mitigate that.
No, except you can subtract your toughness and armor.
Yeah,
and it's a body. Remember, it's a body.
Yeah,
What is
that doesn't actually matter for me.
not exactly a
That's
person of
14
much
points of
armor.
damage to me.
14 points of damage. So where does that...
That leaves me at -5.
Wow.
So remember, in this game, you don't actually die when you reach 0 or negative, but you do get a critical wound. And
Yeah.
And this would be, I believe, some kind of crushing damage, explosive critical effects, impacts, critical effects, wouldn't it be?
Yes.
And we're dealing with a critical effect in the body, if I'm correct?
Yes.
And it's a -5, you said.
Yes.
I have it here, you see.
Yes.
It says, a solid blow to the chest winds the target, and he momentarily doubles over in pain, clutching himself and crying out in agony. That kind of makes sense.
Yep.
The target takes 1d5 levels of fatigue and is stunned for 2 rounds.
Let's see. D5. Okay,
Fatigue?
so
Well,
one
that was
level of
not the-
fatigue.
1 level of fatigue. That
Yes.
means you take a -10 to everything you do, if I
Yes.
remember correctly.
Yep.
And you're stunned for the next 2 rounds while you probably, howl in pain in the rubble of the tower that has collapsed around you.
Yes.
Yes. Is there any place I can note fatigue, or should I just try to remember it?
Try to remember it.
I would say write it down where it says wounds, fate point, insanity, corruption. There are these 2 little boxes down there. You might be able to use one of them to make a note in and say 1 level of fatigue.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Okay, so...
Suddenly,
And-
Tim is very noisy over the box.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
That might somewhat... Does that scupper our current plan quite badly, or...
No, it doesn't.
That's good.
He still hits his targets after all.
Yes.
And his targets hit him.
And I manage the command roll, so presumably there should be, if we're lucky, there should be some kind of armor ready to roll through the gap we're making and cause all manner of hell, mayhem, and awfulness in the ranks behind, the enemy lines.
Yes. So, we start the 3rd round of this battle with, as you said, a squadron of Lehman Ross battle tanks rolling up behind you. And basically making ready to punch through the hole you're standing in and bring the hurt to the enemy.
Yes. Now I'm going to be a true geek here. I'm just going to be a super, super geeky little shit for a second here, Heine.
Mm-hmm.
Are these standard Lehman Russ, or are they one of the subtypes?
No, these are standard.
All right.
Yes.
They are still really powerful pieces of equipment.
Yes, they absolutely are. So, here's the thing. Regarding the damage you guys take this round, it's reduced to 2d6, and that is largely thanks to Tim and what he's done so far.
That's a me of help.
So, but let's take it from the top again. Sister Francesca, what is your plan for this third round of the battle?
With the breach having been opened and the Lehman Russes, they are prepared to punch through. They haven't punched through yet, correct?
The Lehman Russes are preparing to do
Yes.
their.
Then the point here for Francesca is to keep up the what she's doing, and if there are any heavy weapons teams in the vicinity, any autocannons, any heavy bolters, please tell me we have a last cannon. Then she will direct them to fire at appropriate targets, such as the heavy bolter or autocannon will be firing on infantry to clear, to help prepare the path for the tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a las cannon, then she will pinpoint if there is an enemy battle tank out there, let's say a Lehman Russ that opposes us, because we have been taking incoming tank fire as well. You have mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, you will point towards an enemy tank and direct whatever tank busting heavy weapons we have to take that out at any and all costs, and then she's going to continue firing her flamer, and she's going to continue doing that until she runs out of ammunition on the flamer.
Okay, cool. And okay, so same thing really, because you're doing a lot of commanding things.
Yes.
So I'm going to need another command check test from you.
Yes. Do I get any bonuses to this one?
Yes, you get a +20 because you're basically your last, not command but suggestions work, and
pretty okay. Yep. Well, let's see if that works. Yikes. No, couldn't keep going. I'll try again. I'll re-roll that.
Okay.
You got a +20 and you need
Exactly. So I'm gonna see if I can re-roll and get a success. Oh, I can't. Oh well. Too much noise going on here.
Too much noise indeed. Too much chaos and okay. But that is Sister Francesca.
Yes.
Akalon, what are you doing this round?
Aside from getting out of the way of the big tanks, which is, because not only are they perhaps there to do their job, but they might be there to kill us. Paranoia.
Maybe.
Just keep the way clear for them at the sides. He knows he has to stay close to his team, but at the same time, he wants, if anything, to kill more of these things even quicker, because they have, as far as he can tell, they might just have killed Tim, and he's not best pleased with that.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you can still hear them over the box.
Well, that really. So I'm going to say that since Tim is now buried under a collapsed tower, his signal doesn't go through. There's no signal.
No.
There's no
No.
connection to Tim.
He is still screaming, but we can't hear it.
So are hundreds and hundreds
Screaming
of.
or I'm winded.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
winded.
It does say that he cries out in agony.
That's true.
That's
That's true.
I
But
mean-
but that really isn't all that different
does-
from hundreds of other
Exactly.
guardsmen. So
So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only an idiot would not be screaming in pain after getting most of a comm tower on top
Yep.
of them.
yeah. So basically, if Akalon can't keep slaughtering the enemy in front of him, he will just continue to yell out his litanies of hate at them. Because, don't, as I wrote in the chat, I am Seth's vengeance made manifest. That's what he feels right now. He feels, I am here to avenge my planet and my people on you bastards.
Cool. So I'm actually going to need 2 tests from you. The first is the willpower test for your psychic blade, and the second is a command test.
Okay.
I need to take that skill after, whenever I'm able. I really need to get command.
Okay, that's a failed willpower test.
Ooh. Want to reroll that, maybe?
I remember this is just a matter of how well he performs that round. So I wouldn't use a reroll on the attack.
So the blade. I'm not as effective at killing, which is what I just said. But
right,
the blade doesn't necessarily vanish, is what you're saying. Or is it? I don't know. I can't tell with you. You're the GM. You might deceive me.
It doesn't vanish. I like the visual of Akalon slicing through the enemy with this.
Yes, it is a very cool image. That's why I picked it. Yeah. Command test. What do I roll for that?
That is
just fellowship.
It's a base skill, a basic skill. So it's on the list, and if you don't have any ranks in it, it'll automatically give you half of your relevant stats, so you can roll that.
Yep. Okay. I'm probably going to fail this, but let's give it a go.
Ooh, let's see.
No modifiers?
Since you're invoking Seth, then yes, you get a +10.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. What is that? Can't see.
What the hell?
27.
That's the target, but there's no...
Yeah, that's exactly There's no actual roll here.
No, that's
Might
odd.
be delayed.
Okay, just you can roll a d100 manually.
Yep. And
Yeah,
just...
Now we know what the
27.
target is, after all.
And put 10 in there as well, so 1d100 plus 10.
No, well...
No,
you have +10 to your target number. You just, roll 1d100 flat, and then...
It will do from okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, I think that does it then. That actually works.
Yeah, it does, and we'll get to that in a bit. So, Medea, what do you do this round of battle?
Shoot stuff.
You continue to shoot stuff. Cool. Could you give me a ballistics test?
Quietly thinking that Tim should probably have gotten out of the tower before it collapsed.
Yeah.
And under it after.
Yep.
He's supposed to be the practical one, damn it.
Yeah, he is.
Yes. How dare he be impractical and get squashed?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I will not say it's not your fault, I'll say it's entirely your own fault.
So you got 6 degrees of success.
Wow.
You are a killer.
I roll a 6!
Yes.
Yeah, and those are what are they called? Bolt pistols, right?
Yes, they are.
That means that you can do semi-auto with them.
Yep.
So that's a lot of bullets that hit, or a lot of bolts.
Yeah, absolutely.
One for every 2 full degrees,
Yes.
right?
6.
So, and then we have...
That's actually a roll full of 6s. Target is 66.
It's
6 degrees of success and I roll a 6.
Medea is touched by the beast.
Yes.
Clearly.
Rawr.
And then, of course, we have Tim, who's stunned. He can't do much of anything this round.
You'll probably be swearing a lot
Yep.
in his thoughts
So
while he tries to breathe air.
yeah. So I'm going
Filled
to give...
with dust and rubble ringing for his ears.
Yep. I'm going to give you guys some damage. You guys meaning all of you. But it's reduced. So 6 points of damage to Sister Francesca. I'm assuming that just does.
If it's 2d6, they can't get through regardless.
Boing!
It'll
10.
ping off no matter what.
Yep.
Heine.
Yep.
Can I make a point of... can I argue that all this rubble is going to give me some sort of cover?
And crushing damage.
So cover, not really, because these mortar rounds and other things can
fine.
absolutely
Coming down from on top of
yep.
you, yeah.
Can.
Dang it.
Nice try though. Accolon 10 points of damage. Medea 8 points of damage.
Pling.
And Tim 2 points of damage.
Still probably another critical wound, right?
Well,
you still have your toughness.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
right.
your
So is
armor.
it just toughness, or is it toughness and armor?
It's just toughness for now, because this is basically crushing down on you. So
Yeah,
you're being
that's no damage then.
yes, good.
That's good.
Yes, it is. And so we have Sister Francesca continuing to use her flamer, while trying to communicate some tactical stuff to the officers and NCOs around her. It doesn't seem to have much of an effect. Either they don't hear it, or they don't think it's solid tactics.
Well,
she
they're
can't really
fighting
tell.
for their fucking lives, and
That
they're
too.
afraid
That
to do
too.
it.
That too. Because they are all engaged in combat at this moment, and meanwhile, Accolon is also he doesn't have that many targets to attack. So, but he does scream his words of wrath and defiance, and it actually helps. It instills within the allied guardsmen a sense of, well, defiance, a sense of fuck you, you're not taking this place.
That's good.
And
Good boy.
and Medea is basically laying waste to
I
whole
think the
segments of-
reason Medea doesn't realize that Sister Francesca's words isn't going through is simply because she's in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She's just like, there's one hit gone, there's one hit gone, there's one hit gone, there's one hit gone.
Yes. If anyone here's, I don't think anyone here apart from me has seen it, but the image that's conjured to my mind is the character of Revi from Black Lagoon with twin handguns just raining hell on people.
I'm quietly thinking of, because of how it probably looks, I'm quietly thinking about Doom running around shooting shit.
Yes.
Doom guys shooting hell beasts.
That works. Okay, so at the end of this third round of this battle where we have going on, we'll take our first break, and then we'll be back with some more mass combat. So we'll be right back.